Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today I'm going to show you how to create this lovely mother and daughter layout using a few mixed media items from the HipKit color kit. I can't wait to show you how this comes together. Here are a few of the items I will be using today from the February HipKit Club Kit. These are exclusive items available to HipKit Club members. Each month there is an additional color kit available that coordinates perfectly with the monthly kit. The February color kit includes this lovely heart scallop stencil and 3 inks from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to be using these along with the PL stamp kit and the string wreath die on my layout today. As I create this page, I'll bring in a few other items from the February Hip Kit, and I'll make sure to add the list of supplies in the description below for you to view. I have selected a script pattern paper for the frame of my page, and I laid a piece of mixed media paper over the top. I created the frame for this photo with the Frames and Flare button dies. This simple die set is a great staple to have in your collection, and I love that Polaroid-like look it gives to your photos. To the right of the photo, I'm going to place a few circles created with that string wreath die. I cut them from pale yellow glow cardstock to complement the blue frame around the photo. Now that I have a general idea of where these items are going to sit, I'm going to mark their placement with a pencil and bring in those items from the color kit. I'm going to start with 16 candles, which is a lovely lilac color. And I'm going to brush this around the area where the photo is going to sit. This ink is a hybrid ink that is super intense, so I'm tapping off my brush before I apply it to the paper. I want this to have more of a hazy look around the photo, so I'm not applying much of the ink. If you wanted a more saturated look, you could use a sponge blending tool to add quite a bit of ink, or you could just run that ink pad right across your paper and create some lovely strips of color. Not only do these hybrid inks blend beautifully on the page, they are also water reactive. I'm going to sprinkle some large drops of water over the top, and you'll be able to see the color change immediately under and around those water droplets. After a few seconds, I laid a towel over the top to pick up the excess water, and then I'll spray around the edges of the ink to create a faded look. After spritzing a little bit of water on the edges, I picked up the excess with the paper towel, and you can see that color soften. If you need to, you can repeat this process again to soften those edges even more. Off camera, I dried this with a heat tool so that I could bring in my texture paste. I have grabbed a silicone mat so that I can mix the modeling paste with the It's a Girl pink ink. I just smushed a little bit of that color onto my mat, and then I mixed in the paste just like I was mixing icing for a cake. I'm going to bring in that scallop heart stencil and add some texture on the top of that purple ink. If your purple ink is not completely set, that paste is going to soak up some of the purple color, and you will get more of a lilac paste instead of the bright pink. That's one of the reasons I made sure to hit this with a heat tool before I added the paste. I am placing the hearts in the area where my photo is going to sit so that a few of these peek out along the edges with all of my other layers. While the modeling paste dries, I'm going to go wash my stencil, and then I'm going to add some items to my page. Now that everything is set, you can see how beautiful those pink and purple layers look on the page. I do want to add some black elements to this layout. I'm going to start with a little bit of stamping in the lower right corner with the confetti heart stamp. I have placed that stamp onto a block and I'm inking it up with some midnight ink. Before I stamp the image, I'm going to remove a little bit of the ink with a paper towel. This is going to give me more of a distressed look instead of a full coverage image. This is a great technique for those of you who are new to stamping or struggle with getting full coverage images from your stamp. I've gone ahead and adhered the yellow and white circle bundles in place, and I'm layering my photo over some lovely gray floral pattern paper. Whenever I use multiple bright colors, I like to bring in some neutrals as buffers. And next to the photo, I added a third circle in a pale mist blue color, and I'm going to layer a matching chipboard circle sticker over the top. The purple color on this page is going to be the one that I want to add more of, so I'm going to bring in a vellum tag as a vertical element behind the photo. I cut this in half so that I could place a portion of it above and a portion of it below the photo to make it look like it extends the full length behind the frame. With those PL dies, I cut another tag from Pale Mist cardstock, and I'm going to add this to the tag layers. Blue is my quart color in the gallon-quart pint ratio of my color palette. Now, if that concept sounds foreign to you, here's a quick little tutorial to help you when you're balancing colors on a page. You always want to choose one color that you use more of, which is considered your gallon color. On this page, that's the purple hues. The next color in your palette ratio is the quart, which is the blue on my page. And then I have a smaller amount of color, or the pint, which is my yellow and pink. To add to the blue portion of my color palette, I brought in a 1/2-inch strip of pattern paper, and I'm adding this to both sides of the photo. Not only is this bringing in more blue to the page, it's also adding a horizontal element to balance out the vertical pieces. Above that blue pattern, I'm going to bring in a black and white pattern. This is one of the product strips, and it's going to make a great backdrop for the vellum phrase that I'm going to add over the top. Before I bring in that other strip of paper, I want to add some more stamping to my page. I'm using the Hugs and Kisses stamp set to create a little typeset border. Like the hearts, I made a few of these images partially filled in to give this more of a worn, distressed look. Again, this is a great little technique for those of you who are just learning how to use stamps. I did cut apart the vellum phrase that said "so much happiness." Now, I didn't have room for the word happiness on the right side of the page, so I cut apart another phrase and used the word heart. Then I added the larger word love onto my page, and now my title extends across the entire layout. For a few moments, I shut off my camera so that I could add some black embroidery stitching around this page. I'm going to bring in a few more contrasting elements to my page. Around the photo, I'm adding 3 vellum roses. These remind me of little doodles that you might draw in a journal around your favorite photo or quote. While I adhere the roses in place, I would love it if you tap that subscribe button and let me know that you are new here. If you are already a subscriber, let me know that you are enjoying this video by tapping that thumbs up button or leaving a comment below. The string wreath die comes with this sweet little bow, and I thought that it would look super cute at the tag on the top. I cut this from some lilac cardstock, and it topped off that tag perfectly. To match the confetti hearts that I stamped on the right, I brought in 3 puffy heart stickers near the title. I'm laying them out in the same manner as the stamped images to bring some repetition of this pattern to this side of the page. At this point, I felt like my layout was a bit heavy on the blues, so I brought in more purple with this little chipboard circle frame. On top of that heart, I'm going to attach a little phrase that says, "Love this tribe of mine." Now, because I brought in a set of leaves to the lower part of the page, I wanted to bring in another set at the top and create some diagonal flow pattern. I had used most of my vellum leaves on my previous project, so I just cut off a set from this vellum rose and I tucked those leaves behind the tags at the top. If you've seen any of my creations, you know that I love adding phrases to my layouts, and HipKits are always filled with them. Near the photo, I added a blue square, and I tucked another phrase at the top of the photo that says, "My heart is full." At this point, I wanted to bring in more purple to the page with the dragonfly, but I was worried that it was going to distract from the photo. Here's where you're going to get a little insight to how my creative process works. I sent a photo of the layout to my sister, my friend, my daughter, and my husband, and got mixed opinions on the dragonfly. So I took a little coffee break and decided that I would find another way to add some lilac to the page. In the PL kit, I discovered a little gem which is designed to be cut out with the PL dies. Now, if you're not aware of this, in the PL kits, there are a stack of printed tabs and tags and little phrases, and your PL dies fit right over the top, lining up with all of those images so that you can cut them out and use them on your layouts. Now, instead of placing the die cut phrase over the top, I chose to stamp the sentiment. This brought in another stamped image to the layout and made this look like a completed piece. After having a mini conference through text with my sister, I kept that dragonfly on the layout because she loved having it on the page. After all, this page was created for her, so if she likes it, then it's going to stay on the page. I added a little bit of stitching to the body of the dragonfly to give it some texture, and I placed it up near the tags to fill in the space and bring more of that lilac color to the page. I'm going to show a few close-ups of this layout so that you can see all of the details. All of the items on this page are from the February Always and Forever collection. The florals, patterns, and colors are absolutely beautiful, and the little add-ons like the dies, solid papers, and color kit pair perfectly with your monthly kit. If you're one who likes to pin photos to inspiration boards, I have added still shots of this layout in the HipKit Club Facebook group and on my website for you to use. I hope that today's project inspired you to create something new with your mixed media items. I want to thank you for joining me for another paper crafting project. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies I used, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.